Hi, Steve Adubato. We're coming to you from the campus of the New Jersey Institute of Technology. We are pleased to welcome Bruce Chadwick, who is the author of Law and Disorder, The Chaotic Birth of the NYPD. How you doing, Bruce?
I'm doing good.
I am fascinated, and other people are going to be fascinated very quickly about this. So here's the deal. NYPD, New York Police Department, City Police Department, began in 1845.
Right.
You study it up until what period of time?
1859.
Why is that such a fascinating period?
It's a fascinating period for two reasons. One is, it's stunning to me, from the founding of the country in 1789 through the 1840s, there were no professional police.
None?
None. We had bungling, stumbling, corrupt constables, most of whom were never armed, trying to preserve law and order, doing a very bad job of it. So to bring in the professional police in 1845, and those problems did not go away. You still had a really tough guy, brutal police force riddled with corruption. And at the same time, New York City is becoming this great, fabulous city in the world, and the foundation possibly killed by the crime.
Let me ask you, crime remained high, even with these professionals, and issues including police brutality, corruption, what else, was the case back in the mid-1800s, and some of that still exists today.
Some of it does still exist today. I must say, though, corruption in contemporary times, the percentage of policemen who are involved in corruption in New York, Newark, Philadelphia, anywhere, is quite small.
Dramatically different from what was?
Yes.
Why was it
smaller.
Open? I don't know. Why was I don't want to say the Wild West. That's
it was the Wild West. It was the Wild West.
Was it really?
It was. When I did this book, I said I should compare the crime statistics in New York City to the Wild West.
Well, what
so
was
I got
going on?
The statistics in Tombstone, Dodge, New York City's crime rate was 6 times as high.
What?
Yeah.
What was going on? What kind
Only
of
about
crimes?
1,100 police to patrol a city of close to 1 million people, in 3 shifts spread over all those areas. Very small. Guns for the first time. Burglary rings, murders.
Gangs.
A lot of crimes that the police could not stop. And when the police were ordered to get tough, and they carry these 14-inch billy sticks they just whack people with, ask questions later.
Right.
The public completely approved of this.
What do you mean approved of it?
Completely approved.
Of police brutality?
Of police brutality.
Why?
Do whatever you need to do to make me safe.
That was the thinking?
That was the thinking.
So
and
the
it lasted
relation
for a long time.
So the whole idea of community policing and the relationship between the police and the community, they were like, you're saying no. Most people were saying, look, protect me, reduce crime, we'll be fine.
That's right.
However you do it, it's not my problem.
Exactly.
I
It's
don't care about it.
necessary force. Yeah. And then the captains in the police department, they're very careful about this. They never told the cops to do that. They just said, do what you feel is necessary, as did the chief of police, as did the mayor. And everybody covered up for them.
Hold on, you talk about one of the mayors.
Fernando Wood.
Fernando Wood.
Fabulous Fernando Wood.
Now, Fernando Wood was the mayor in the 1850s for a period of time, and again in the 1860s. That we're looking at a sketch of Fernando Wood. Why does he matter in all this?
He matters because he was New York City's first 3-time mayor. Nobody had ever even been a 2-time mayor. So he established a lot of power. There was a political organization called Tammany Hall.
Oh, Tammany Hall.
Corrupt to the core. He ran Tammany Hall at the same time he was the mayor. He controlled everything. And what all the police had to do once a year was go to his office and just give him envelopes full of money as payola to keep their jobs.
Tammany Hall. Was that where George Washington Plunkett was?
I don't know.
There's a character. Oh, never mind. It's another story. Jen, let's do something on Tammany Hall. I'm fascinated because they were so corrupt.
Oh, they were.
They ran the political system in New York for so long. By the way, why do you look at New York City's police department, and what does that have to do with the rest of the nation?
It doesn't. Its connection to the rest of the nation is that it was the foundation.
Was it the blueprint?
It was the blueprint for what all the other police departments did. Because they took the attitude, it's the biggest city. If they're doing it, it must be right. Well, it wasn't. It was wrong. And they did it wrong, too.
But weren't there some positive aspects of the NYPD?
There were, in the sense that after a couple of decades, and it grew bigger, and civil service came in, and the police academy was started, the NYPD became a lot better. The academy was started in the 1890s.
Why did that matter?
It mattered because with the civil service exam, you weren't appointed to your job.
So it wasn't as political?
That's right.
So Tammany Hall, this political power base of operation, they didn't control all the hiring of cops.
Not later, but they did during the 1840s and 50s.
No, but and when civil service came in.
That's right, they
So
did
that was a
not.
positive thing.
Very
but you
positive.
said there were spikes in crime at certain points in time. Could you talk about that?
Well, the crime by the 1880 or so goes down. It's cut in half. And then it stays half for a long time. And in 1920, at the start of the Roaring '20s, just after the war, it spikes. It
What
really
happened
jumps.
in the 20s?
Well, you had the mob, for one thing, prohibition, bootleggers, gangsters fighting each other. You had a vast shift of African-American population, millions of people moving north and arriving at the same time in New York City primarily. You had millions of immigrants still coming over. So many immigrants that the government closed immigration in 1922.
They closed it.
Right.
Wow, it's so fascinating as we talk about immigration
Oh,
policy
yes,
today.
problems today.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the Great Depression. When that started, you had desperate men who will do anything to get money to buy food and housing for their family. So all these things together cause a spike in the crime wave. This is despite real efforts by the NYPD with like a police air force in 1922.
An air force?
I never knew they had an air force. And they did. I don't know who they bombed, but it didn't work.
You know, there was a riot was it 1849 Astor
Yes,
Place?
right. The Astor
riot.
Place riot.
What was it about, A, and B, how did the law enforcement professionals deal with it?
Well, it's a crazy thing. A group of people did not like an actor in a play.
What?
That's right. And
That's what caused the riot?
That caused the riot. They all started hooting him.
In Astor Place?
And at the Astor Place, in the theater there.
In the theater?
In the
Did
theater.
it spill out into the streets?
Spilled out into the streets, yelling and screaming about the actor. Then the cops arrive, and the cops can't do anything. The crowd is now 2,000 to 3,000 people because the neighborhood's flooded the place. They call up the militia, the state militia.
Right.
State militia are bad guys. They fire into the crowd.
No.
And they killed like 20 people.
Just right
So
into the crowd,
right into
indiscriminately?
The crowd. Yeah, several volleys. It was awful.
Did the federal government come in and investigate?
No.
No.
Oh, yeah. The federal, there were investigations of it that went nowhere.
Nowhere.
The crowd was ordered to disperse several times.
Yeah.
They were ordered to halt, they were ordered to go home. They didn't do it.
Last question. In this book, there are different players that are talked about. One of them is Walt Whitman.
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
my hero.
But what does Walt Whitman have to do with NYPD?
Walt Whitman was a crime reporter. That's where he started his
Before
great
he became
illustrious
Walt Whitman?
literary career. Yeah, it was Walt Whitman with lowercase w's.
Wow.
He was a crime reporter, and then became an editor of a newspaper that did a lot of crime stories and wrote beautiful things about New York City and savage criticism of crime and the police. He was a real hero in his day. He was.
This is a fascinating book. Law and Disorder. By the way, where'd the title come from?
The television show.
Oh,
The
but you
contemporary
said Law and
television
Disorder.
show. Yeah, we just changed it to Disorder.
You're fascinated by crime, are you not?
I am.
By the way, you teach?
I teach at New Jersey City University. I teach history there. I do a course on the history of homicide.
Law and Disorder, The Chaotic Birth of the NYPD by Bruce Chadwick. Who's your publisher?
The publisher is Thomas Dunn Books.
You got to make sure you get that out.
Right.
Bruce, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fascinating stuff. Go out and check the book out. Be right back from NJIT right after this. That was great.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJIT has been provided by NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology, the New Jersey Education Association, RWJ Barnabas Health, the Northward Center, the law firm of Gibbons PC, TD Bank, and by Verizon. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.